Well, it says we're live, so what's up, G Show Land, and welcome to another episode of the G Show Podcast. I am G1, and this is the Geek Out. And yes, let me tell you, ladies and gentlemen, a very abridged version of the Geek Out, because tonight I'm gonna be geeking out when Iron Mike steps into the ring to fight one of them Paul brothers, brother. And I can't wait to talk about sports entertainment. It's gonna be nuts. I watched the weigh-in yesterday, so this podcast, this live stream, it ain't going 7 hours tonight. No! It'd be lucky we get to an hour and 20. That's it. But whether we get there or not is on us, and us is the panel, my co-host, my cohorts, starting with my brother from another mother, G73, aka Megsy, aka my brother Chase. Thank you for being here today, brother.
Well, hello. I'm glad the stars aligned, or actually fell from the sky and caused a fallout that created Space Godzilla and let me be here. But I guess we're not talking Godzilla today, which sucks because I really wanted to talk about the Godzilla -2 stuff. Because I've been away for a couple of weeks, but it's okay. I guess it'll just burn in my heart.
We'll get there.
But hi.
Also joining us, we got Shin Rob. What's up, brother?
Me dog, I do drug. Hi.
Indeed. Oh my God. Yes. Did I say an hour and 20? I meant 25 minutes. And last but not least, my man has been... I said, yo, we got to start this podcast on the dot. And then I ran late. But JR was ready to rock and roll. We usually wait for him. He was ready to rock and roll. He's about 16 fucking Hennessy shots in. That's not true. Tennessee whiskey. JR, what's going on, brother?
If you step on someone's shoe, you're gonna be bitch slapped. That's all I'm gonna say. Especially if it's Mike Tyson. What the fuck?
Oh my God. So, what up, Anthony? No, we are not right now. No. We're just high on life and it's time to go. Listen, there has been a bunch of things to talk about this past week, but one thing grabbed my attention, I want to say either Wednesday night or yesterday, and definitely this morning, that I was like, all right, you know what? We're going all in. We're going all in with this. And as you can see on the thumbnail, we're talking about Microsoft and what the hell is happening with Xbox. There's so much to break down, and I want to break down. Before I do, though, I do want to give a fat shout out and a condolences, because as we got off last week, as we got off the live stream last week, we found out Tony Todd passed away. And Tony Todd, you know him as Candyman. My personal favorite Tony Todd movie is Night of the Living Dead, the remake where he plays Ben, and I watch it every Halloween, and literally just finished watching it a week prior, and he's gone. And he did Venom in Spider-Man 2. He was fantastic. The man was a beast in the industry. Whether it was genre or not, you had to respect his gangster. I love Tony Todd. I am going to miss Tony Todd. So that out the way, I want to open it up for anybody having to say anything. I'll start with you, Rob.
You love Tony Todd, dude. Like, popping up on Twitter when I was supposed to be asleep and seeing that he fucking passed it. It's one of those moments where you just see the headline, you don't want to believe it, you Google it, and you see that it's like confirmed by his like press people and shit. Dog, fucking Tony Todd and Candyman. I mean, that was my first time ever seeing Tony Todd, or ever hearing Tony Todd. And all the stories you hear about these celebrities being fucking dickheads, and yet all you hear about Tony Todd is that he loved being around his fans, he loved talking about his roles, he loved answering questions, and the man was a fucking G from the day he entered this earth to the day he exited. And everything that I've heard about him this week following, it breaks my heart, because the world needs more people like him and less people like other people. And I mean, the dude's got a fucking record. He's been all over fucking cinema, all over fucking video games, TV, the whole 9 yards. He's like another Frank Welker. He pops up where you don't expect him to.
Yep.
The man's a legend. I'm gonna fucking miss him. And God, tell everyone
Yeah. Chase, any words for Tony Todd?
You know, I never had much experience with his stuff he's been in. I haven't seen Candyman. I haven't, you know, my only thing I've really had experience with it, I mean, I've known who he was, but the only really thing I've had, like, a hand in with seeing his work and experiencing it was Spider-Man 2 for PS5, and he did Venom absolutely phenomenally, and I know, just and echoing what Rob said, he is. I've noticed that too. That there is a very strange, just not strange and like weird, but like it was impressive and admirable to see all of these game companies and film studios send out their regards to Tony Todd and his family and their praises of how just they all said how just of a kind soul he was. And I definitely was shocked to hear that he passed away. He was young, in my opinion. He wasn't that old, so it kind of is just kind of weird in that sense. But I hope he's going to rest in legacy, and I wish his family nothing but the best from here on out.
Nice. That was nice words. JR.
I'm a horror buff. I know Tony Todd. I know Tony Todd from the greatest remake of Night of the Living Dead, done by Tom Savini.
Hands down.
Tony Todd carried that fucking movie.
Yep.
Tony Todd is Candyman. I might not be a fan of those movies, but I never downplay the impact Tony Todd has as the character and as a horror icon. Not only that, he's in The Hatchet 1 and 2 with Kane Hodder. It's amazing. Tony Todd is a fucking legend. Mm-hmm. Tony Todd is the man. When that news broke, I teared up. It doesn't happen a lot when it comes to celebrity deaths, but you know what? Tony Todd, it does. Tony Todd, rest in peace. You left an everlasting impact on the horror community, and you will never be forgotten because you are a fucking legend.
Legend. Horror community, voiceover community. Tony Todd was a jack of all trades, and honestly, you would be best. I swear to God, last week I was gonna jump back on some impromptu live stream, and I was at the computer compiling pitches to do it, and then I fell asleep because last Friday was a Good Friday. Every Friday's a Good Friday when we're at the live stream. But yeah, Jay, you want to read those?
Yeah. Anthony comes in. I thought Tony Todd did some voiceover for animation like DC and Pixar during his career for Disney. He absolutely did.
Yeah.
Is Tony Todd the type of actor that you wouldn't realize that he's been in movies and TV shows that you've watched without realizing it? Yes.
Absolutely.
Tony Todd is that guy because he was that guy. He was the one that would step up to do the job, and he did it as a professional. And again, like Rob said, he loved his fans. He loved his fans. One of the most heartbreaking things for me when he passed, Joe Bob Briggs posted a picture of him standing next to Tony Todd, and he was like, dude, we were just talking about doing a collaboration. Tony Todd was going to be on Late Night Drive-In with Joe Bob Briggs. That crushed me. That crushed me.
Could you imagine? Well, speaking of crushing, let's talk about this Xbox news, because there's some things, I mean, it's so flip-floppity. I have no idea what's going on. I know Brother Chase, he keeps his ear to the ground when it comes to things like this. I know Rob's in it. Fucking JR has been saying this shit for over a year now, and I kept downplaying it, and it seems like every fucking time there's something new about the Xbox expanding past consoles and going on the platforms. I gotta look this man in the fucking eye while he takes a sip of his fucking ginger ale and just looks at me with that "I told you so" look. I get mad, I get frustrated. Xbox, you fucking ruining my life. You're ruining my life. It's not true. It's the alcohol that's ruining my life, but that's neither here nor there. What the hell is going on? This campaign rolled out the other day, this week, where there's a bunch of posters, and it's just like, this is an Xbox. This is an Xbox for your lap. This is an Xbox that goes on the wall, and so on and so forth. And they show all these different electronics that has a screen that you're able to play the Xbox on. And I'm like, I know they've been doing the cloud gaming for a little over a couple years, 2, maybe 3 years now. They've been testing the waters with the cloud gaming. Sometimes it works phenomenally, sometimes it doesn't, right? Depending on the size of the game, your internet connection at home, you get stupid lag. Sometimes it sucks. Sometimes I've gone through some independent games, I've gone through in one sitting with not a problem, and that's pretty awesome. But that's still off of my Xbox console. Like, I've never played an Xbox game on my phone, even though I've seen people do it. I've watched my nephew play Fortnite on his phone from his Xbox account. It's baffling to me. There's this one of the things. This is an Xbox on the inside. It's a fucking remote. It looks like an Amazon Fire Stick. What the fuck are we talking about? I have no clue. All right?
I almost bought that Fire Stick months ago.
And this was for the... See, I have no clue what's going on. All I know is I've got some words when I start finding out more information that hopefully Chase has and Rob has. I've got some words. But seriously, Chase, I'll start with you. What is this campaign about? Where is Microsoft taking Xbox?
All it really is to get into the nitty gritty of it, is they're dealing with a $70 billion loss. That's how much it was to get all these acquisitions and their consoles into the market. And so what they're doing is they're just trying to find a new way to innovate. We all know this is old news, but the truth of the matter is that Xbox consoles are not selling the way they expected and hoped. So they're trying to find out new ways to just keep Xbox alive, basically. And this is the big way to do it, is instead of putting all the money in hardware, they still say they will be doing hardware, like, the Xbox, Scorpio, Mecha Scorpio, or whatever they want to call it, whenever that comes out. They're talking about handhelds now. So the thing is, they're still going to keep Xbox as a brand, but what they're doing is exactly what they're doing with Windows. They're selling it as something that you can purchase for your devices. And that's what's becoming for Xbox. Xbox is no longer becoming a hardware exclusive. It's becoming a software exclusive, which Microsoft has always been known for their software. But the one thing about this is, for one, I just want to douse this out before it gets too out of hand. What they're trying to do isn't going to come to life till about maybe another 15, 20 years. What they're trying to do is basically make it to where you can absolutely streamline Xbox as a hub to any device that you own. The problem with that is they need very, very strong Wi-Fi infrastructure to do this. And it's just our technology in the United States does not have that strength. It's just physically impossible for us to do that now. So that's why you're looking at 15, 20 years. Why they're announcing this now, I don't know why. It makes no sense to reveal something like this. I mean, I guess it's not that surprising because they have been talking about this for the past 4 years now.
Yeah.
But the main thing is that basically Xbox is no longer becoming a huge 1v1 competitor with PlayStation anymore, or whatever game company outside Xbox. It's now
Nintendo.
just becoming a software device, and and on top of that, we're talking about that Phil Spencer doesn't think that there's going to be much exclusives anymore for Xbox, and that's the biggest thing to this. That's a bad thing because now that means PlayStation can take advantage of us because there's no other option. That's what I fear. But that's basically where we're heading, is just there's no more console exclusivity. He did not say Halo was going to be coming to PlayStation, but when he was asked about it, he said, we're still thinking about that. But it wasn't a yes, it wasn't a no. But he did say after that I don't think there ever was a law saying that Halo has to be an Xbox exclusive. So that is a little bit eyebrow raising. So we'll see where this goes in the next 10 years.
Shit.
But we're looking at a big, huge generational shift where Xbox is now going to be some type of strange deity that gone and has some deist type of form to it. So, that's just kind of the main summarization of it.
You know what game has been an exclusive to a console for well over 30 years now, almost 40? Mike Tyson's Punch-Out! That's an NES exclusive. It's never been on anything else. Somebody take Phil Spencer, put him in the ring tonight instead of Jake Paul, and let Mike Tyson knock his ass out. I'm done. I'm sick of this shit. I digress. God damn it. JR, what do you think?
I played a Mike Tyson game at Chuck E. Cheese where you put on boxing gloves and hit something.
That's fun. That's fun. JR, what do you think of this?
Before I get to me, Anthony, Apple is very strict on who they allow to partner up with software, and they've been very strict on what apps they allow because they have a strong security protection on their software. Because that's a one thing I've heard people complain with Microsoft, that their security is not stringent when it comes to when they download third-party apps, when it can cause viruses on Xbox. That's the one reason I moved to Sony, because Microsoft is far behind when it comes to the platform exclusive games compared to Sony, where they have released more exclusive platform games. I thought God of War originally started out as an exclusive for PlayStation, and it didn't become multi-platform until later on. Okay, now, I'm just going to say it. God of War on PC and PlayStation does not make it fucking multi-platform. They're just appealing to a different demographic, just like how Microsoft has the Master Chief Collection on Xbox and PC doesn't make them multi-platform. PC is an anomaly. It is not a multi-platform at that point. PC is an open platform. I digress. That's one. Mm-hmm. I think what Microsoft is doing with their games, I'm not going to say I called it. I'm not going to say it because I did. I think it's smart but stupid. Here's the thing with Microsoft. They're not pumping anything out. Like, I have the Series X. They're not drawing people in. They're more making their shit more accessible. And there's inherently nothing wrong with that, because I have a PlayStation 5, I have a Series X, and I have a gaming PC that eats the PS5 Pro alive. I also have a Nintendo Switch. Listen, Halo on the Switch, all day. Give it to me. Sit next to a campfire, playing it. Yeah. Hold on. Anthony, JR, be humble, don't brag. We don't want your head to get any bigger than it is.
I love this Anthony guy. I love him.
Listen.
That's my guy.
But I think Microsoft inherently is smart to put their exclusives on other platforms, but it does. PC's not necessarily another platform, but once it crosses over to Sony and Nintendo, it is officially multi-plat. To me.
Yeah, PC is basically them saying, quote, multi-platform, but it's because we're not saying it's going to be multi-platform because we're not putting it on our competitor. PC is not necessarily, making games to where it's like people are, it's not like that.
Here's the thing with, here's the thing with PC. The exclusives that are on PC end up coming to console. Phasmophobia, which was a PC exclusive for like 4 years, is now on PlayStation. In VR as well. It never stays exclusive to PC like 9 times out of 10. There's nothing wrong with these companies putting it on PC. But what Microsoft is doing, I think, is smart when it comes to long game, because they're saying, hey, our games will be exclusive on our Xbox for X amount of fucking years, and then we're just gonna fucking release it. Sony, with their licensing, is doing the same thing. Hideo Kojima, or not? Yeah, Hideo Kojima. Death Stranding. Launched on Xbox this week. That was on the PS4 forever, the PS5 forever, and now it's on Xbox. Well, and we've had it on PC for years.
And last year, fucking MLB The Show, which was a PlayStation exclusive for fucking 20 years or some odd shit, popped up on Game Pass, and I'm like, wait a minute, there is a fucking official baseball game on Game Pass, and it's a Sony exclusive, and I played it and I loved it. It was fun. So
not only that, the Silent Hill 2 remake, feelings set aside, it is going to end up being on the Xbox next year in October.
Right.
So I understand what they're doing. Microsoft's just at the forefront of it. They are definitely like, listen, we see the future. The future's multi-plat. We're just going to throw shit at the wall. Real quick, Anthony comes in, a perfect example of a game that started on PC but ended up becoming multi-platform is Civilization and Rise of Son of Rome. Rise Son of Rome did start on Xbox first.
Yeah, Rise Son of Rome.
I have a question.
That Rise game is one of my favorite Gladiator games of all time. Period.
Oh, dude. Would you guys consider Ghost of Tsushima a platform exclusive to PlayStation or Xbox, or that truly a multi-platform game as originally intended?
No.
It's not on Xbox.
It's not on Xbox.
It's only on PC.
That is the PlayStation exclusive, and Sony is not giving that up.
Well, it's on PC as well.
But we just finished saying PC doesn't count.
No, Sony at this point is not going to give anything over to Xbox now since they've won.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And the thing is, Death Stranding only went over to Xbox because Death Stranding did not sell well.
Well, and it's also, it's not even just that. Because most, if not all, Hideo Kojima games end up becoming multi-platform.
Well,
that is a Hideo Kojima game. He may have a license exclusive for a time being, but he owns Death Stranding. After Metal Gear Solid, he owns this shit, and he says, I will do whatever the fuck I want with my shit.
And that's the thing that always got me. Like, when the first PlayStation came out, there was nothing but exclusives on it. You couldn't play Tekken on Nintendo or Sega. You couldn't play Resident Evil on Nintendo or Sega. You couldn't play none of those games. Sony had that shit locked down. Then, eventually, those companies was like, this is not an exclusive game anymore. These are multi-platform games. Like, we can make $1 billion off of Resident Evil 4. And so they did, even though Resident Evil 4 actually came out for fucking GameCube first. And then started going everywhere else. But like games like Ghost of like the Sony hardcore games, I can't see that leaving. And like Chase said, he fucking nailed it. Sony's not doing nothing. They won. But I'll say like Tomb Raider, for instance. Remember when Tomb Raider was a timed exclusive on the PlayStation? The newer games. Remember when they were timed exclusive? And I was like, I want to play
Tomb Raider was a PlayStation 1 exclusive title.
The original, you're right. And that's... but, like, the idea that... See, and again, this is where I'm, like, fucked about. Like, I'm fucked up about it. Because the idea that a Microsoft in-house company is letting their games go cross-platform soon. makes me nuts. It makes me nuts. Could somebody explain to me what epic game came out on a PlayStation when Gears of War was like popping? Cause I can't. I thought that was like the same thing with like fucking Bungie. That was Halo was.
You had the Infamous games back then. Those were pretty good. Well,
that wasn't epic though. That wasn't Cliffy B. You know
mean,
what I'm
you
saying?
mean like epic as in the brand, or epic as in like competitor?
No, epic like the brand, like the Gears of War team. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it was just because Epic was just doing Gears at that point.
Mm-hmm. It's crazy when you think of it. Rob, we didn't get your opinion. What do you think of all this fiasco?
I really don't know how I feel. I mean, at this point, Xbox hasn't exactly been doing anything to make me feel bad for them in this regard. I mean, it absolutely sucks. Don't get me wrong. But at the same time, how long until this happens to Sony too? Sony might be doing better than Microsoft, but I don't think Sony is exactly holding up any fucking airs of grace about themselves either. What was it? I don't remember how much they fucking paid for the new Final Fantasy, but they paid so much, that shit flopped. Apparently Remake 7, Rebirth, Revitalization, fucking reintroduction, whatever the goddamn fuck it's called, apparently that flopped too. It's like...
That's a great point, but mostly that falls more harken to their live service games. Like let's take Concord as the fresh example. Not only did Concord flop tremendously, it was a $400 million game, and that also is attached to a company acquisition that they closed. And they're still saying that they're going to still try and pursue their live service games of that stature. And it's like they're totally oblivious to that. So whereas I see, where I see with that, I think if it keeps, I mean, at this point, if it keeps failing for Sony, then I guess the difference is that I guess it will be weird because then you basically have two companies in the same position. So then it's like, does that just mean the competition's back on?
Well, that's a good point, Chase, because here's the way I feel about it. Microsoft just let up. Literally. They just stopped.
Yeah.
Gears of War 6 should have been out a fucking 2 years ago. But we're getting E-Day, and I'm excited for E-Day. But now I'm worried. Is E-Day going to be on the PS5? It could possibly be. Fucking Halo Infinite. I mean, I know a lot of people hate that game. I dug the shit out of that game. But what else did Microsoft have? What else that would have took me for the fucking ride I need to go on for them, for that system, for that thing? Whereas Sony, and we talked about this before, they've got multiple fucking franchises under their belt, yet they seem to recycle the same fucking things. Thank God
they're going to be in the exact same place.
Thank God we have not had the God of War 2 remaster yet for the PS5 Pro. Stop!
What all, dude? You can't wait until what you hear it's coming in March.
No. You don't have to. The God of War Ragnarok. No, the PS5 Pro. It's doing things, and I'm weirded out by what it's doing. Just seeing what people are talking about, that's a completely different thing versus Xbox, but maybe Xbox should have got on that a little bit, because
just to go back to what Rob was saying, though, yeah, PlayStation could possibly get to that position, but they are in nowhere the deep water as Microsoft's in right now.
Oh,
absolutely not.
That's the difference, though. But the thing is, if they keep making games that are going to be like a milked Horizon franchise, or they keep making too many God of War games, eventually that's going to start staling, and they're going to need to start learning, because they said they want to put out, you know, just as much single player games as they're doing live service games. So
Yeah.
to do that, you have to have fresh ideas, and at this moment you got God of War being their biggest champion, and Horizon and some other stuff.
Sony is in a fucking red letter fucking corner right now, because Microsoft is pulling this and Sony's out here saying we want to do more single player games. Go back to the fucking books. Go back to the fucking IPs that you are having sat on a fucking shelf. You want to make a goddamn single player game? Bring back the fucking franchises that are fucking collecting oodles and oodles of dust.
Infamous.
You'd be doing what Microsoft isn't doing. And guaranteed, it's not going to be instant or overnight, but you'd be succeeding where Microsoft is not succeeding.
Absolutely. You know what title Sony is, and we're supposed to be shitting on Microsoft. We're shitting on Sony. You know what title Sony would absolutely, and I shit you not, would absolutely benefit from if they release it now on a PS5? Single player game, but it was a single player game originally. This game is a multiplayer battle royal Twisted Metal.
Bruh. Listen. Do Fortnite, but Twisted Metal.
That's all I'm saying. They would make
That
a
would be
fucking
the shit.
Sony could pull that off easily, right? Sony pulls
Dude.
that off, then they buy themselves a shit ton of time because everybody's like, oh shit, Twisted Metal. You'll have people like me playing the campaign, right? With my
I'd
man
be buying
Axel.
it, bro.
Right? With my man Axel Power all day. And then
Sweet tooth.
you'll have the fucking people online. Come on, where the fuck is the fucking Car Carnage online game? They're usually indie games, and they're not Twisted Metal. Sony's sitting on a gold mine. Microsoft ain't, apparently, which is crazy, but they fucking buy up all of these studios, all of these companies with the, the fucking, I mean, look, not for nothing. I saw something not too long ago that said Black Ops 6 being released on Game Pass really didn't affect sales at all in terms of people going out and buying the game still. I thought that was really good. That's a positive. Did I read the article though? No. So I just read the headline. But the headline seems like a positive for Microsoft.
It is a positive for Microsoft because I literally work with people who only have the PlayStation 5 who bought Black Ops 6 knowing it's owned by Microsoft now to play Call of Duty.
Oh, that's why they didn't.
Not only
okay.
Not only that,
I forgot about that part.
it's crazy. It's crazy. Not only that, it's a good game. It's a good game.
You played it?
Hell no.
No. So how do we know? I haven't played it yet.
Boy, I didn't play the Black Ops, but as an old school COD fan and watching my buddies play it, I ain't mad at it.
Yeah, no,
I ain't mad at it.
I'm gonna eventually download that shit. I just don't know what games. It's probably all of them that I gotta take off my fucking Xbox Series.
Oh,
X.
dude, I gotta buy a whole other hard drive because it's cross-platform for the multiplayer. I'm buying a whole other SSD for my PS or my PC for that shit. But not only that, Microsoft themselves are sitting on a gold mine of exclusives because, yeah, they waved their big money phallus around and slapped everyone in the face, and change and dollar bills were flying around. But they're not doing anything.
Just curious, did you mean Microsoft or Sony? Because I only know like of two exclusives Microsoft has.
Halo,
Gear.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
That's your opinion of a gold mine?
No. I'm saying they slapped it around. Money was flying around, and then they bought everything with the huge money phallus. And the joke that I just sent you guys in the private chat, they own Bethesda. Where the fuck is the next Elder Scrolls game? Where is it?
the other thing that's really weird about this is Phil Spencer was asked about, why wasn't there a mid-release console for the Xbox generation this time around? And he literally said that Xbox Series S was the 2020 console, and Xbox One was supposed to be the filler for that mid-life cycle console. No, and people are not happy about that.
No, people aren't happy.
That doesn't make sense. Holy shit.
Wait, can we get a rewind on that?
Yeah. How does that work?
So Bill Spencer said that, so JR, just wait till I'm done. Xbox Series S is the console that was supposed to be like the PS5. Xbox One or the Xbox X or whatever, the one that's
One
not
X.
Wait, the
Xbox
Series
One
X?
That's supposed to be their PS5 Pro.
Okay, wait. All right, let's get out.
You're getting some names mixed up here.
Yeah. So we have Xbox One, right? Then we had the Xbox One X, right?
Which was the mid-cycle refresh.
Then the Series X, you're saying should have been what the PS5 was?
Okay, yes. The series, the two versions that are going to be coming out this holiday, the one that's crappy, that's holding the generation back, that's Phil Spencer said that was their 2020 Xbox console, like their new thing. And the one that's the bigger, more advanced version of that, the more high-tech or whatever it is, because there's so much Xbox One X, whatever name they put in their consoles.
Yep, it's stupid.
That is supposed to be their mid-filler console.
Right, what's
people are not happy about them saying that.
What's the discless one again? I forget. It's the Series X.
That's the Series S, and you and me have the Series X.
Ah, that's it. The S. See, that's where I was low.
I'm gonna say it. Everyone that's pissed off about that, get it together. Here's why. Sony released the PS5 Pro for a very minute demographic. We don't need mid-generation console refreshes. We need you to stop making games for the Xbox One and the PS4. You never tapped the full potential of these next-gen systems. You could sit here and say ray tracing this and frame rates that. No, you're making games on game engines that aren't for what's available right now.
Well, you know what?
That ain't our fault.
You know what? Not for nothing. A couple months back, Rob and myself sat down and we watched that Microsoft fucking game thing.
Showcase.
The showcase. And they were fucking pumping shit out where I was like, whoa. Microsoft, what are you doing? It was crazy. Like, the amount of games they were pumping out in the showcase was insane. And I know Chase loves to make fun of the Japanese RPG type games. But there was a lot more. There was a lot more than that. And it was like, oh, shit. Yo, they're coming out swinging. I think the problem is these companies aren't like the big companies. They have nothing under their belts that they can say, yo, remember this game from the studio that brought you, such and such. Whereas, for instance, Bulletstorm from the studio that brought you Gears of War. Oh, shit, I'm in. It's a brand new IP from the studio that brought me Gears of War. Show it to me. Give me. And Bulletstorm's a fucking fun lunatic game. Go ahead.
Yes.
All right. I'm going to get to chat real quick. Anthony chimes in. The two games I want Microsoft and Sony to bring back respectively is Mech Assault and SOCOM Navy SEAL, and completely remastered GoldenEye 007. Listen. I want Time Splitters. What the fuck? The reason
Winter Cell.
Right?
I want fear.
I think the reason why they're so obsessed with keeping their previous general games is because they don't want to lose the older fans of those systems. And I understand that. I do.
They're doing a terrible fucking job.
Terrible.
Well, not only that.
They're not appeasing to those older fans at all.
Yeah, once a gamer, always a gamer.
But this is supposed to be par for the course. Because when I was a kid, I went from the NES to the PlayStation to the original Xbox and PlayStation 2, to the Xbox 360, PlayStation 3, to the Xbox One, PlayStation 4. I got a PS4 Pro, never got the Xbox One X. I got the Xbox Series X, the PlayStation 5, and I custom built a PC. We always, within the past fucking over 20 years, upgrade to the latest generation. The problem here is the smog monster fucked shit. And these consoles should have been delayed because of that, because we're still getting games on the previous generations. This year, finally, I have seen console exclusives for this current generation.
Well, I mean,
way behind.
The reason I bought a PS5 was because of Spider-Man 2. Me and Chase, he knows that. We had this conversation. That was the reason. I was like, And granted, and I think Chase said this in the review, it could have been a PS4 Pro game. It could have been.
So, yeah, there's nothing special about PS5. Or for that game.
Anthony chimes in. So you never had a Nintendo 64 or the Famicom JR? No, I now do, because I have an original Xbox that modded. Now I can. I'm just not a Nintendo guy like that, right? I've always just Sony, Microsoft, and now
the guy
I'm
with
PC.
a Switch.
Let me just ask a question, because Sony released their Pro and it feels like a fucking lead fart in a church in the middle of Sunday Mass.
Because it is.
Xbox is claiming that this discless fucking Pizza Hut dinner box is their whatever the fuck.
Yeah, they're dickless. You could just say it.
What in the fuck are these companies going to do when Nintendo drops the Switch 2?
Ooh.
But see,
Y'all in trouble. I'm sorry, but y'all in trouble.
Wait, but
they're gonna shit themselves. They don't know what to do with it.
All right, look. I gotta be honest. When it comes to Nintendo don't anymore for me, because what they used to do was Star Wars games. When you had my all-time favorite video game of ever, Star Wars Rogue Squadron 2 Rogue Leader. Oh my God! It was perfect. It was a perfect game. I love that game so much. Nintendo
Don't mention
do
how
that
Rodan's roar in King of the Monsters isn't the classic roar, because this is like the same tangent.
What are you talking? No. Listen, I'm not gonna.
Well,
that was
also Microsoft's idea, JR. They told Mike Doherty to make the roar not traditional.
How many weeks in a row has he popped off about this?
I'm not going to this week though. I'm not.
Don't do it.
I'm mad.
Don't do it. Be a man.
I'm not mad. I'm not mad at Nintendo. I just have not bought a new system because there's nothing that. Dude, give me a motherfucking Star Fox in lieu of fucking what Rogue Squadron used to be. Nintendo had that down pat, and you don't get that with Microsoft or Sony. I mean, granted that they don't have the exclusivity for the games for Star Wars games anyway, right?
Yeah.
So you get a game like Battlefront, and I'm like, damn, this shit is beautiful to look at, and I suck at multiplayer games, so it fucking sucks. It fucking sucks. It sucks. Like when you don't fucking put the original Rodan Raw in the motherfucking movie. You gotta every other fucking Raw. Every fucking Raw is in the fucking movie. But no, you want to go and change Rodan's Raw. Let's give it an ostrich Raw. An ostrich Raw. You know what? Go fuck yourself, Michael Doherty. Go make Trick or Treat 2, you son of a bitch.
Listen,
I'm
Anthony
sorry.
chimes in.
God.
Can't remember
Damn,
when
you
I
got
saw
gun.
it, but Sony, well, not bringing back Special Operations Command, Navy SEALs, they're going to create a new game in that similar vein under Bungie. That would be dope. I think the reason why Sony and Microsoft focuses on the bigger platforms and not doing portable handheld systems, it's because they see that as a more reliable source of profit.
I don't know,
Microsoft is making a handheld console.
Yes!
The
That's the
Switch
fucking thing.
itself, the Switch is a genius idea. I swear on everything. The Switch
The
is a
Switch
genius
is
idea.
brilliant.
And honestly,
But
I would
it's not
own one.
gonna go anywhere if you don't have any fucking IPs to put on your goddamn handheld console.
Listen,
So if
I'm
the
gonna say
Switch
it
2
right now,
comes out and the
Microsoft.
Switch 2 gives you Metroid Prime Remastered Trilogy and Metroid Prime 4. I mean, like, wow, right? I was not a fan of those games to begin with, again. But if they gave me the Star Wars Rogue Squadron Trilogy Remastered, guess who's buying the Switch day one? This guy
I
right
was
here.
thinking of the transition to the, it's definitely happening, Xbox Portable.
So yeah, no, then that's fine and all. Look, Sony had whatever that portable thing is too. I don't. Why are we talking about Sony? I want to shit on Xbox because I love my
portable
Xbox.
I'm sorry, a portable Xbox system inherently is not a bad idea. You know why? Because not all my Xbox games are physical. And to be able to play the Master Chief Collection handheld next to a river and a fire, like I do my Nintendo Switch, just gets me going in all the wrong ways.
I'm gonna shit on Xbox here. They should have never made Game Pass.
Ooh,
No, but
hot
it's brilliant.
take,
No.
hot take.
Game Pass is brilliant inherently for a handheld system. You know why? Because you got a fucking trip planned. I'm gonna take my fucking portable Xbox Series Small with me. You know, Xbox.
So,
yeah, handheld.
So, real quick, Chase, that's a hot take, and I like that take. I do, because I sort of agree with it, but then the Game Pass guy in me totally disagrees, only because...
So, yeah, let me just explain my side here. The reason why, and I just want to finish my piece before anyone chimes in.
Very good.
Look, Game Pass is a great subscription in a perfect world. It's a great thing to give players a way to play games at an affordable way. But the problem is when you have inflation from the past decade to now increasing every year, and you're having a subscription to where you pay a fraction of what it actually costs to make those games. None of that money is going into those developers to pay off their salaries and quotas and what their investment and loan terms need to make. And unfortunately, when Microsoft bought out all of these companies, they shot themselves in the foot because they didn't have any games either to go with the consoles. They didn't have any games to make for the generation, and they didn't have I lost my thought here, but it's the fact that they didn't, their games haven't, what I'm basically saying is that, for one, they could have totally spent that money instead of the acquisitions of the companies on games Xbox players could play. But games like, let's say, even though Redfall's a bad example of this, it's just an example of, like, or maybe a game, just a game in general. If you're, like, for Gears of War 5 that came out, or their most recent Gears of War, that went to Game Pass, but you could still buy it at full price. But the reports were that game didn't financially meet its successor. And that's because most of the sales, like, okay, Starfield is the best example. That game is hemorrhaging money, did not make its ends meet, and they're saying it had the most players ever, but the majority of those players are on Game Pass. So $20 opposed to selling a game at full price, like $60, even though we hate that term because $60 now is very expensive. The problem is the money that's supposed to be going to these developers are going to Game Pass, and they're not, and it's causing them to not be able to succeed in the long run of creating sequels and other games. And that's the biggest problem with this, is that Game Pass steals that away from people. And that's the thing. It's like, again, I think it's great. We should have a system that makes games affordable and people can play them. But if you want, like, that's the reason why we're getting a God of War Egypt and Horizon One Dawn or whatever sequel. It's because they're not free to play like that. They're not, you don't have to just pay $20. People are buying them, putting money in, they're making their payments back to be able to make more sequels. That's the problem, and it's not going to some other system or app or subscription to where that money's being diverted somewhere else. And that's the problem with Game Pass. All the money you buy with God of War is going to Santa Monica and their investors. Okay. That's the thing. And that's why Game Pass is just financially it's hurting Microsoft more than it's benefiting them. And Phil Spencer has admitted that.
Okay. Let me know if you're finished, because I have to retort.
Yeah, I'm done.
All right, now.
I disagree with that 100%, especially when it comes to the publishers and the people making these games getting their money. Because here's the deal. Let's say you don't have Game Pass, right? Game comes out and it's a flop. They're not going to make money anyway, right? Or a game like Gears of War 5, for instance. Perfect example. That's one you gave. X amount of people buy the game, but they buy the game one time. So when it comes to inflation, it doesn't matter. You bought the game already at its original price. The game is bought. Then you have the used market. You can buy it for cheaper. You wait a couple years, you buy it for dirt cheap, a sale. All
but
that shit
doesn't go towards the developers, though.
But so, all right, then Game Pass would work in that regard, because it is a subscription fee that's coming out of your pocket. Hang on, I let you finish. Hang on. I let you finish. I asked if you were done. With Game Pass, it's a subscription fee, right? Now, I don't know how any subscriptions work, whether it be Game Pass, Netflix, which I'm going to put on in a couple minutes, Amazon Prime. I don't get the logistics behind it, right? Like, we talk Hollywood all the time, right? And we talk about, you know, one of me and you, our favorite topics is the box office, and we talk about how this movie cost X amount of money to make, and it made this money. It needs to make this money to break even or go over. With subscription services, that shit's out the window. But for games, I think it's a bit different, because let's just say this, especially if you look at Game Pass. The majority of games on Game Pass are indie games. They come from PC. They come from the PC world, right? So you pay your little developer that took maybe 3 months to make that game. You give them X amount of money, bam, their game's on Game Pass. But you take Gears of War 5, for instance. As long as somebody has a subscription service, I'm pretty sure that there is a small percentage. I don't know what the percentage is, but I'm pretty sure there is a percentage that goes to everybody who made that game until it covers the cost for them for making that game. And then after that, it's all profit on Microsoft's end. You know what I mean? But I don't know if it's, for instance, great example is Black Ops right now. If Black Ops 6 is everybody playing it, there's a bigger percentage to the team behind it, whether it be Treyarch or Infinity Ward or Raven Studios, whatever the fuck. I don't know how that works, but if you hold on to Game Pass, I was gonna get rid of Game Pass this year. I still got it. I haven't used it, to be honest with you, in a minute, but I can't let it go because there's still certain things that I do want to play. But the money that constantly flows out of my pocket into their pocket, I'm pretty sure is paying a developer, is paying somebody, because I'm not the only one with it. So, I mean, and I get it. I see where Phil Spencer's saying that it might have been a mistake, but I don't think it is. I think that's him speaking to the people on behalf of his shareholders. Those motherfuckers are making their money. He's just the mouthpiece. He's the guy they throw up in front to say, yo, you got to take a beating for this. And for what? There's really no beating being taken. Now, again, one of the things you brought up that makes absolute sense, there's no games. This is the thing. There's no games. There's no games. There should have been games that are constantly pumped out, whether they're good or not. But for the sake of just justifying it, I mean, look, again, I'll point at Netflix today. Netflix today is giving us a fucking huge boxing exhibition. In January, they're getting Monday Night Raw. WWE Monday Night Raw is going to be on Netflix. This is one of the reasons why I got to watch this fight tonight, because I got to see how that's going to look. This is the beginning, right? Game Pass is very, very smart, and it's a better model than what Sony's doing, whatever their 4-tier system is, right? Game Pass to me is a very smart idea. I can't see studios losing money due to inflation because it's a constant revenue stream as opposed to buying the game once, and if the game was a flop, it didn't matter if there's inflation or not. You're not getting paid. But with Game Pass, you could kind of still get paid. You could still kind of get paid.
What I'm reading here is how they structure it is like how Netflix structures their shows. It's the games get the most funds based off of popularity. So like if Gears of War makes more money than Halo, or Halo makes more money than Gears of War, the most of the funds they make for that, I guess, period, goes more to the more popular game, is what I'm gathering, is what it's saying here.
Gotcha.
The other thing to factor into with the inflation thing is that it's not just inflation, it's the time frame the investors are allowing for the games to make their money. And that's the biggest thing.
That's terrible. No, that is fucking horrendous, because that's not fair. You don't give the game a chance to have legs. This isn't the box office. This isn't opening weekend type shit, okay? And let's see, that's terrible. Oh, I don't like that at all.
But that's the biggest thing with it that I've always had a personal issue with, is when investors lend out like the $200 million budget, they say like, oh, you have to make this money back by this set time or else it's deemed a failure. But that's also the same way how box offices go as well.
Yeah.
In Hollywood.
All right, JR, got some comments to read.
No, Jesus, I got so many. Anthony says, this is why I disagree with you. I think Sony and Microsoft focus on those gaming PCs and platform systems is because it's not that it's reliable source of profit. What did I do to hurt you? Like, what have I done? Listen, PC is very profitable because, you don't necessarily have to go buy a console to play some of these exclusives when they come to the PC. You get your 1,000 and upwards gaming PC and you get to play them. That's okay.
But you still got to pay a subscription to Sony if you want to play their games.
No, well, I just got to pay to buy the game and that's it. So, yeah.
Wait, no.
I mean,
again, we're not talking Sony, but wasn't there a big...
You have to make a PSN account, but you don't have to buy their subscription. You're just paying for their game at that point.
Gotcha.
No, because I just bought Days Gone and I didn't have to do shit.
Well, that game sucks.
On Steam to play that.
It's not on all games. It's just on a select few.
But even in a case like that, oh my god, it's the end of the world. I digress. That's 47.
2. That was 2.
Yeah.
I'm
because most of the hardware in their systems wouldn't make sense in a portable platform because 4K and 8K gaming in terms of frame rates wouldn't work on a portable system because it's so small. Listen, we gotta
the game in 8K in a fucking handheld console. Just make it work.
We gotta stop.
We
gotta stop.
I gotta throw a dart out here. And then I'll let you continue. I am amazed when I look at fucking video captured on an iPhone.
Yeah.
That's all I gotta say. Like, the frame rate on a video captured on an iPhone is way better than the video captured on my phone. So I don't know how that would translate to handheld games, especially Xbox.
Inherently, here's the problem. Because on my PC setup, I'm not playing at 1440p or 4K. All of my 3 monitors in my system, which could very well handle higher frame rates. I'm just cheap, and a 32-inch curved monitor. 1080p
Get to the point! God damn it!
I know. The point is, 1080p is fine. I play at 200 frames per second at 1080p max settings. There's absolutely nothing wrong with it. Stop with the 4K. Stop with the 8K. Resolutions don't mean shit. You know why they don't mean shit? Because your current fucking consoles don't even play them at that resolution. They're dynamic scaling resolutions that most of the time, even with the PS5 Pro, don't even hit it. You know why? Because it's unachievable with these goddamn game engines that are meant for 3 generations in advance. It's fucking retarded. Stop giving a shit about 4K and 8K gaming. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
All right, bro. Who hurt you?
My God,
damn.
man.
I know, I'm sorry.
Motherfucking
Is it possible that Microsoft and Sony decide to stick with bigger platform systems because it's easier to do 4K gaming on a bigger graphics chip compared to a smaller handheld? No! Here's why. Because it doesn't matter the graphics. Here's the thing, the PS4 or the PS5 Pro is not doing 4K gaming still. You know why? Because it's not, I've been saying forever as someone who builds computers, it's not all about the graphics card. You have to change the computer processing unit, the CPU. They did not. Graphics cards aren't just the only thing you have to change if you want to hit these resolutions. You also have to increase RAM and fucking the capacity of and speeds of different drives. It's just not there. Stop it. Listen.
Dedicated wham.
You're never getting it. Be happy.
I'm gonna
Be
say
happy with what you got.
I'm gonna say something that's gonna really upset myself. This is why Nintendo wins. This is why Nintendo has
Because
always
they don't care about this shit.
They don't give
care
a
about
fuck
it.
about this.
They don't need to.
Just give me
They
a good
don't.
game. Here you go. That's all
That's
they care
what I'm
about.
saying.
And that's the problem. The people running these companies right now and their investors are all about, well, how can we make more money? Well, we can make this thing like 4K, 8K, and they got to spend more money on this shit. So they're all right, let's do it. And it makes no sense. And then they start to falter and fail. And Nintendo is just like, here's Super Mario again. I'm like, what the fuck? It's the same fucking game since 1986. You gotta be kidding.
So,
relax. Come on.
it's ridiculous.
I don't care if you make him an
Discrimination
elephant
right there.
now. I don't give a fuck if he's an elephant. He probably sounds more like Rodan than Rodan does in King of the
Oh my
Monsters.
gosh. It's
Well, the
ridiculous.
counterpoint that it wasn't Charles Martinet who played Mario in that game. So yes, he's not.
Ray
Wait.
sounds like Rodan more than Rodan does.
All right, hold on. I gotta get through the chat. It's ridiculous. I originally had a PS Plus when it was originally $30. That's why I switched to Sony, because their subscription service was cheaper compared to Microsoft, where you had to pay $60. Microsoft debuted Game Pass in the right place at the wrong time. I do agree with you there. It should have waited until they had a more solidified studio to create original content for that service, like right now. If you announce Game Pass right now after you bought all these studios, I do agree with you there. I don't dislike Game Pass. Fucking I have Game Pass on the PC and it transfers to my Xbox. I'm okay. But I do agree with you. I'm not putting too much emphasis on the graphics card, JR. I'm just asking a question because I don't take gaming as serious as you guys. No, I'm not. My rant is targeted to the people that only give a shit about graphics and not gameplay. It's nothing against you. I love you. Listen, be a man.
Anthony, I got your back, brother. Yeah, I got your back. You got him on the ropes.
I know. Listen. For my PC, I bought a graphics card that is more expensive than a PlayStation 5 or an Xbox Series X. One thing for my PC that's more expensive to get better graphics, and I'm still playing at 1080p. Why? Because graphics aren't all about it. 1080p to me is still beautiful, max settings at super high frame rates. I love that. And I think that's where, you know, the console manufacturers, Sony, Microsoft, are so focused on resolution, detail, blah, 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 game engines, where it's like, hey, Silent Hill 2 Remake runs like ass on the PS5. fix it. Oh, you can't, because Unreal developed an engine that's for 3 console generations in the future. So in 3 generations, hey, you'll be able to play it at 60 frames per second.
All right, here's my beef. I'm going back to the top of your hand. Fuck all the graphics and shit. Microsoft.
It's terrible.
This is what I worry about. I have the majority of my games on Xbox, on a Microsoft console. A lot of them are digital games. Some of them aren't, but I have digital DLC. Case in point, Arkham Origins. Own it physically. The DLC is a digital. Obviously it is. And that's only on the 360. I haven't checked. I played Arkham Origins on my Xbox One X. I didn't check to see if I can download the DLC to it. I hadn't checked. I'm going to do it because I'm going to play it again. But if I can't, this is one problem from a console past that to me scares the fuck out of me going forward with what they're trying to do. How do we, right, as consumers, keep the shit we paid for? This isn't food. You don't pay for food, eat it, and then shit it out. You pay for something to home, to play. Whenever I feel like going back to something, I want to be able to just pick up my controller and press a button, and there it is. There's my library, there's my game, let me play it. I don't want to have to go through some restrictions. Look, the other day, I owned the Terminator game, Terminator Resistance. I saw Terminator Resistance, the deluxe edition, like the everything edition, for $50-something. I was like, what the fuck is that? I click on it, it comes with all the DLC, extra stories, extra skin, and for me, DLC means story, right? So I'm like, oh shit, extra stories. All right, let me go to the store and see how much that costs. Can't buy it. You could only buy it on that particular fucking game. I'm like, but I already own the base game. I bought the base game. What the fuck? What the fuck? What the fuck? That scared me, and that was before I seen this. Now it's even more scary because I'm sitting here like, wait a minute. If I have to buy a whole new fucking version of this game just to get the DLC, I already own the game. What the fuck is that? If I can't play my Arkham Origins DLC, Heart of Ice DLC, because I only have the physical copy, and then what happens when my Xboxes go defunct and I can't play my physical games anymore? Arkham Origins isn't on the store. What do I do? When I played the Cybertron games, either earlier this year or late last year, I couldn't play Escalation. Why not? The servers are down. They shut them down. But Escalation, you can play that single player horde mode. Why the fuck would you shut me out of that? These are the things I worry about going forward with this model. The way this is trajected to go. I am fearful because I put money into my collection, and if I can't go back randomly and pick up fucking the Dear God to play, because I like that game a lot actually, I'm gonna be pissed. And this is what I'm worried about with what Microsoft is doing. But when Chase said early in the podcast that this is something that probably won't be implemented for 15 years, that gives me hope. Also, the fact that Phil Spencer said we're not going away from consoles, but I still don't believe that. What does that mean? Is it the handheld shit? I just want to be able to play Batman and everything else.
It's funny you bring this up because did you guys see about last month there was that big news article where now by law the game companies have to put in disclaimer that your digital games actually are supposed to be deemed as licensed rentals.
Ugh. I remember.
So what
I
that
remember us talking
means
about
is,
that.
what that means is hopefully the way I see is physical media is definitely something they're trying to push away because of cost. But if this comes to a thing where people are upset because they're not, I guess it just comes down to how does that deter consumers? Because it may not have an impact and it may possibly have an impact. But if you're a consumer that doesn't want to just rent a game for $60, and yet you're also not going to, like, let's say the new God of War game comes out, but it's only digital. There are going to be people that are going to be like, I'm not going to rent a game for $60.
Right.
I'll wait till it's on sale for like 10, 20, maybe 20 max at that point. Well, what does that do to the game industry? That kills the game industry severely. But what that also does is means, okay, the game industries have to come up with a new innovation. So what do we do to get players to keep playing and keep buying, and so we can keep this industry alive? It sounds like that might be the saving grace to physical media, because now at this point, we can still sell our prices and consoles and our games, and people will possibly be more inclined to, because I would rather know if I pay $60 for a game, I could keep it rather than I pay $60 digitally and I can lose it.
Right.
You know, so hopefully there's that course correction, which it kind of sounds like that's maybe where it's going. But really, the only way to combating it is if, one, the game industries now have to make infrastructure servers that will forever preserve these digital games, which is also in talks as well, is they're trying to come up with ways to make it to where they don't have to shut these games down and take them away forever. To keep them alive forever is what they're trying to do. But there's also the other thing to combat is you just can't sell your console. But the problem is once your console breaks and it's old, refurbishing it can be costly.
Yep. And
you might not get the parts to fix it anymore, you know?
Yep.
So it's a thing where either physical media, the way I think in the perfect world it has to be is physical media just has to stay. That's why I buy consoles with disc drives, because I want to buy physical media, even though, I haven't bought a physical media game in so long, because that's the one thing that sucks about digitally buying stuff is it's so convenient. Mm-hmm. But the thing is, too, is now it's like if I buy the latest God of War game, it doesn't come with the disc. It comes with the collectible and the steel case and steelbook case and a statue, but it doesn't come with the fucking game. It comes with the for the game. So it's like, what's even the fucking point now? And that's the thing too. It's like, how do we, you know, the game industry is so flipped upside down in this type of physical media content. They need to get their head on straight. I think that's how it needs to be is physical media just does not need to go, and they need. But the thing is too is why are they charging me that? Because realistically, we should not be paying $60 for a digital game, because the cost of all the physical stuff, like the cases, that's all included in the physical price. You're paying for the taxes on that game.
Yep.
That's not digital. There's no case when you're buying a game digitally. There's, you know, so unless they go back and they sell versions of the games and they give you digital codes and you get fancy stuff to go with it, that would be cool. I would be okay with that maybe, but again, you're still coming with the idea of it. You're still renting this game. You're not owning it. So it's really the game industry needs to sort that out. That, unfortunately, it's the progress where it's the game. We're going to be seeing a lot of changes within the next 10, 20 years of how things are going to work. There's going to be a lot of things said and a lot of things walked back on. So we'll
Chase,
see.
You fucking nailed it. That's why I do not buy my comic books digitally unless they are on sale. Because there's no reason I should buy a digital comic for $6.99. The same price as I could buy it physically. There's no reason for it. There's none. That digital comic should not be $6.99. If you fucking if you ran it through the press and I own that shit physically and I can magazine that motherfucker in my bathroom, then all right. Depending on the size of the comic, it's $6.99. But I 1000% agree with you. You can't give me a fucking game charging me $60 and it doesn't come with a physical disc. Here's a case. with a code inside. Get the fuck out of here. No, I agree 1,000%.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting next couple of years in seeing how this industry evolves and changes and moves forward. But yeah, I mean, it's just crazy to think about too. It's and it's sad because there shouldn't be a reason why physical media is this shunned item.
It's not necessarily that it's shunned. They want it to go this route. Real quick, I will get to chat. JR did it Unreal originally create the engine specifically for Madden NBA. Then they started to use it for Call of Duty and Halo. No, Unreal Engine was developed by Epic and was only used for Gears of War until recently.
What was it? Unreal Tournament?
Yeah, Unreal Tournament.
That was before Gears, though.
That is true. No, Gears came out first, and then Unreal Tournament came out.
No, Unreal came out first.
No shit.
Yeah.
Hey, that's fair. What they said. What scares me in the future that eventually we're going to end up paying $1,200 for a platform setup for the PlayStation or Xbox, or even compared to a PC setup. Yes and no. Hold on 1 second. So inherently, because think about it, you have to have a television, and then you buy your console. How much is it? Pushing $1,000. So you're already paying for it one way or the other. It's just longevity seems to be thing, and I completely understand that. I can't remember what the name of the game rental service that was around in the late 2000s, early 2000s. GameSpy? Or not GameSpy. GameFly, yeah. Where you would rent games for like 3 to 4 weeks every month, and you could buy rental finishes. Yeah, it was...
That's still around.
Wow.
That's still around.
I love GameFly. So... I want Rob's take, because he plays Nintendo. He plays Nintendo and Xbox. Rob?
And Xbox.
What are you thinking about what's chat saying right now? What we've been talking about?
Well, like performance and graphics and all that fun stuff?
Yeah, fuck that. What do you think?
I don't want to come off as the person who's easy to please, but as long as the fucking thing runs and doesn't look like a pile of shit, I don't need crazy bells and whistles.
Silent Hill 2 remake.
Well, Silent Hill 2 we'll get to that when it comes on Xbox, because if that game is still a broken pile of ass by the time it gets to Xbox, I'm gonna have words. But I don't need much. Yes, I want a game to look pretty and everything, but I don't need the ray tracing. I don't need the supercalifragilisticexpialidocious dog fucking graphics card. I don't need the fucking, V8 new fucking sprucer engine or anything like that. Like, dude, I get so much out of my Switch alone. The fact that I can play Doom Eternal and Doom 2016 on my Switch and it doesn't look like a pile of crap, I'm happy with that. The fact that I can do so much with that and get so much out of it, I'm fine. Because at this point, I'm getting more out of my Switch than I am my Series X. And arguably, it's going to be different next year because, Doom Dark Ages, hey, yo. But I don't know. I don't need much. And I don't think I've ever needed much. And I really don't think the climate today for gaming needs much either. I think they're all drunk on the idea that you need this specific thing in order to enjoy it, when I can plug in my N64, look at Link and his fucking polygonal fucking face, and still have a fucking fun time with it.
And that's one of the big things now, is because innovation has become such a big contender in the game industry. I was thinking about this the other day, and Rob brought up the good point. My opinion is like, not every game has to be a AAA game, and the studios are just wanting to make AAA games, whereas where it was years ago, we had maybe one or two AAA games every 2 years. And it was all AA games, and now it's like it has to be AAA game or nothing. But that's the problem is Microsoft and Sony and everyone else. They've just become so money hungry, and they made it a complete product placement instead of an art form where it was back in the day. And that's the problem now. That's the thing. Like, there are some people I know, and like me, like I love a good, beautiful game to look at. And you know, and I don't mind if the gameplay is not like fantastic, like Red Dead Redemption 3 or something so, you know, complex. But on the other hand, too, I also love games like Darksiders, which are platformers, and it's a fun game. The game has great gameplay. The graphics aren't perfect, but they're fun to play.
The graphics are perfect for its time, brother.
What's that?
The graphics are perfect for its time.
Yeah. So, you know, I see it on both sides of the coin, but the game industries need to stop making it they're too far into it. It's like they saw what they could do with a $200 million return on a game, and then it's just caused lots and lots of competition that is toxic.
Yeah. And I agree, and that is why I stick with Nintendo most of the time, because they're not out here saying, look at my RTX 8K fucking shadoizel or anything like that.
Yeah, we don't need to see the pores in Link's face.
Exactly.
Let alone the emotion.
That's the thing. Like, I love God of War Ragnarok, but every time they show Kratos' face and you can see the pores in his skin and everything, I'm like, bro.
Yeah,
I was like, probably $60,000 to add that feature.
Yeah. Well, listen, ladies and gentlemen, that'll do it. Listen, like I said, this was going to be a short one, huh? Because, well, the fight is starting. I thought it was going to be 7 fights, but apparently it's only 4. So, that'll do it for this episode, ladies and gentlemen, of the Geek Out, the live stream. I want to thank my co-host, my cohorts here, starting with you, Brother Chase. Thank you so very much.
It was great talking to you guys. Things have been kind of claustrophobic lately, but I hope once it gets cleared, I'll be more frequent on these. But I had a blast talking with you guys as always.
Absolutely. Every time you're here, man, it's always a fun time. JR, bro, thank you.
It's no problem. Real quick, last comment.
Uh-oh.
If you guys have to choose someone to play Kratos in the live-action God of War series, who would you guys choose? G1?
Nobody, because there should never be a fucking live-action God of War show. End the story. You do it animated, and you know who you get. You don't get boy. You get him out of there. You get him out of here. You get Zeus. Your son has come home.
We heard Jay say Triple H.
No, I agree. I don't want there to be a live-action God of War show because they're already running into complications with it, and it's just going to be a dumpster fire from here.
I agree.
Rob?
Oh,
exactly.
I don't give a fuck. I don't need it. I don't want it.
Don't do it. But that is the end of the chat. My final takeaway: Microsoft are doing good things with your handheld. And you're holding off with a pro model. I agree with you. Keep doing what you're doing, but eventually I would really like a game. Please. Hurts a little bit.
What you talking about? You got Silent Hill 2.
I swear to fucking God. Listen. You have Pyramid Head in there. Doing Pyramid Head shit, but James doesn't even sound like James. He doesn't act like James. I swear to God, you think you hate Rodan, I will fucking shit up.
I feel bad for JR because for like at least 2.5 years we were listening to him talk about Silent Hill 2, and for him to just be this upset about it, I feel bad for his consoles he plays on because he's probably like shaming them and putting peanut butter in them and shit. He's that mad.
Dude, I'm so mad. I don't even game anymore. Listen, I don't play games anymore. Don't take my take on anything. I sold my PC. I'm on a Mac.
Yeah,
Be a
those
man.
live streams he does are taken from other YouTubers. He's just putting his logo and
Steal all the footage.
Except for his Arkham Knight. That was all him because
No,
I would
the
never
game
play that game
crashed.
like that. I will. It crashes. It crashes all the time. But I would never play
Yeah.
that game like that. You play it awful, and I disliked your. That was me on the dislike. That was me, Jr. It was me. You
Why
son
did
of
you
a
do that?
bitch. Why
I
would I?
tried so hard. It's on my. It kept crashing.
No,
Man.
his take on his take on Batman is terrible. And
Why?
last but not least, Rob, thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me. Thanks for doing a stream tonight because I know we're all pretty hyped about this fight, but
Dude, I
always
don't
it's
want
always a
someone
fun
get
time.
Face punched.
Yeah, no, I'm ready to go. And that'll do it, ladies and gentlemen. My final take is, in all honesty, Nintendo wins. It fucking kills me.
Yep.
Drives me nuts to say, but looking at what has become of the top two, Nintendo's been doing this for over 100 years.
Mm-hmm.
And they're still in the
Yeah.
game. So they will not stop. And honestly, I would love to buy a new Nintendo system. They just gotta feed me. They've gotta feed me something where I can sink my teeth into. And it's gotta be something like Star Wars Rogue Squadron Remastered. Only for the fucking Nintendo. Oh, automatic. But that'll do it. This wasn't a singing episode. That'll do it for this episode, ladies and gentlemen. I am G1, and we are out of here.